Hi everyone, this is J. Hope Suez from Hope Boulevard. I am continuing on with my chapter on online dating profiles. I had to move inside, it was getting a little dark, but I am going to pick up where I left off. The first part of the chapter was talking about your profile, how to make a good winning profile for you. This one is going to talk about what to look for, the hazards and tips when you are looking at someone else's profile. So I'm just going to dive right in. Profile hazards. I have wished many times for a profile decoder ring, a magical instrument that would untangle and translate words from a dating profile. A profile that supposedly was designed to entice and thrill, oftentimes just confuses and dismays. It's ironic to me how in an attempt to put their best foot forward, so many people end up putting it somewhere else. I believe there are distinct patterns and red flags sprinkled throughout certain profiles, and by being careful, we can avoid wasting our time. I do not suggest that all of these are absolutes or that anyone who says any of these things that they're wrong for you. These are just my observations and experiences. I would simply request caution until you can determine for yourself. So these are some phrases that I see pop up a lot and what I think they mean. The first one is looking for fun. Most of the time, this does not mean going to the movies or playing miniature golf. Simply put, they want sex. It sounds less abrasive to say that they're looking for fun. Most of us are looking for fun or we wouldn't be online in the first place. So we can easily get pulled into their play on words. Just know when this appears first in the profile where the direction of the conversation is probably going pretty soon. Open-minded. This is closely tied to looking for fun. Being open-minded or looking for someone open-minded again sounds like a good thing. Keeping options open, not stuck in a routine, thinking outside the box. However, most of the time this phrase is used to describe some sort of sexual freedom. Either they are in a relationship and want to play on the side, or they're okay if you are in a relationship and want to play on the side, or simply they just want to play on the kinkier side. I make no judgments, just ask the right questions before proceeding too far. Here's another one. Wanted, good-hearted woman or good-hearted man. These individuals have been hurt. I'm not suggesting they are not ready to love again, but the wounds are fresh and it is clear right up front that they need someone gentle and easy on the heart, a tender and patient partner. They might be a great person, just know there might be some healing left involved. Friendship first. Unless you are on an arranged marriage site, no sane person expects the first date to end in a relationship. However, the idea is to date and not look for a walking buddy. These people are probably not looking for a commitment and are shoring up their position to just hang out and coast along. There are so many people out there ready to run full speed ahead into what they feel, and that they feel it's necessary to put on the brakes before even starting the engine. I had a conversation with a guy friend of mine who actually has the statement in his profile, and we discussed it. He very strongly believes that a solid friendship should be established before beginning a romantic one. This is hard to argue with, and I agree in theory. I also hold to my belief that many times this phrase is used to avoid the "what are we" conversation that some have way too soon after meeting. If you see this in a profile, just know the road to a serious relationship may take a little longer. Here's another phrase. Takes care of himself, herself. This means more than eating more fruits and vegetables and working out. This one is all about appearance. And I know looks are important to everyone, and we all have the right to our preferences and taste. But these have a specific look they like, spend a lot of time on their looks, and want their partners to do the same. This is perfectly fine. Just know going in what's expected of you. Here's another phrase you see a lot. No drama or baggage. The people who mention drama probably have had their fair share of it over time. They may have been manipulated or dealt with in an abusive or difficult person. It doesn't make them unsuitable, just weary and probably edgy. They want life stress-free with chill, happy moments. If you like to keep things stirred up, these people are not for you. As far as baggage goes, everyone our age has some type of baggage. It could be a cute little carry-on that fits under the seat or a large trunk with reinforced steel, but we never leave a relationship without some emotional sediment clinging to our heart. But we cannot hand our baggage to the next person and expect them to carry it for us. We must handle it ourselves. Just understand these folks may be dealing with unresolved hurt or anxiety. Here's another one. Never married, no kids. If they've reached the age of 50 and have never gotten married or raised kids, then there are certain personality traits that could be missing from their emotional repertoire. You may recall my friend in Chapter 1 who disagreed with me on this issue. He told me his story, and I admitted that he was an exception, but I still believe it is a viable truth worth mentioning. Marriage, even the bad ones, teach compromise and flexibility. Raising children teaches sacrifice and priorities. If all they have ever had to worry about is themselves, then that is probably all they will ever really, truly worry about. And here's one, the one with no information. If they don't take the time to write anything at all, they simply are not serious. Some of the free dating sites take only minutes from sign up to posting a profile. They could be bored or just fishing to see what falls on their hooks. Do not waste your time. A sincere and available person will take the time to do it right. You did, and you should expect nothing less from the person with whom you want to spend valuable time with. Trust your gut. Don't see things that aren't there, no matter how much you want them to be. If all this information sounds a little overwhelming, I understand. It can be. Trying to find a date online and the entire selection process of dating apps, swiping right, and questionnaires often feels like a job. And in a way, your online profile almost does resemble a job application. As it turns out, there's quite a lot of information found on a job application that is quite useful when it comes to weeding out potential suitors. I have played around with that concept, and I developed a dating application using some of the same criteria. By utilizing this information, I intend to be able to sort through a list of variables and come up with a select group of candidates who fulfill my love requirements. What, you ask, is my dating application? Here are the highlights. Name. Of course, this is never really difficult to get, but you've got to start somewhere, right? Address. Now this should not be their buddy's couch, their parents' basement, or Motel 6 down the street. Age. I understand everyone has his or her personal preferences, but I like to keep mine plus or minus 5 years. I could possibly persuade it to go 10 with the right person. Do you have reliable transportation? Did I ever tell you the story of the guy who had his 80-year-old father bring him to and pick him up from our date? Uber doesn't count either. That's too close to a threesome, and that's not going to happen. Date available to start. This is my personal favorite. If you are not over your ex-partner, do not ask me for a date. I do not wish to be your therapist or your rebound. If you are not even divorced yet, while I sympathize with your position, you have to finish one chapter before starting another. Are you available for overtime or weekend work? You would be surprised at how limited some people's schedules and times are. I'm not even sure why they think they have time to go on another date. If you have to pencil me in weeks in advance, I'll forget to show up. I've actually done that. Position applying for. This is important, and hopefully one in which they've put some thought. I don't need a chief cook or dishwasher, but I'm not looking for a professional time waster or manager of mischief either. Previous experience. Here is a section I want to know a little about, but not much. We all have a past. I do not need to relive yours. I just need to confirm you've actually been around a woman before today. Length of stay is important to consider. Do you bail after the orientation when things start to get real? Reason for leaving. Again, gory details are not required, but being forcibly removed, or just failing to show up one day, both will land you in the rejected pile. Special skills. It's always good to have special skills. This is where they provide a list of characteristics and abilities that create enthusiasm and excitement. Expectations. What are you looking for? Casual dating? Friends with benefits? Long-term relationship? Be honest and upfront about your intentions. If we're not on the same page, then there's no need to proceed to the interview phase. Last but not least, references. This is a tricky one, even on real job applications. Who is going to provide the name of anyone unless they are sure to give a glowing recommendation? These absolutely do not count. Your mother, your mother's bridge club, your mother's hairstylist, your hairstylist. The idea that you even have a hairstylist bumps you down 3 spots. The mailman, the bartender at the corner bar, or anyone else on the corner. I may decide to leave this one off the form. I'm really not good with trusting what other people say. I prefer to make my own assessment. If all of the other fields are answered to my satisfaction, I'll just have to trust my instincts. Okay, so I wrote that in jest, but there is a small part of me that wonders if it would not actually work in some fashion or form. It is all the basic necessary information, and it would be great to have it handy and available up front. I know, it's not practical, and some would even say cold and unfeeling. Where's the adventure? Where's the wonder? Where's the intrigue? I'm actually getting kind of tired of the wonder. The wonder is when this date is going to end, so I can go home and get back to my real life. At the end of the day, it truly should not feel like a job interview or work release program to find someone compatible. However, I have often learned the hard way that details and history are important. We all need to do our homework and be diligent about who we let into our lives. Communicate honestly from the start and learn to ask good questions. Their favorite color is not important. Their views on compromise, adventure styles, and how they set the thermostat, those are important. Now that you've waded through the massive profiles, you undoubtedly have a few whom you wish to contact, as well as a few in your inbox who warrant your attention. Let's spend a few minutes on constructing a successful first message. Your message to them. As with your written profile, keep your first messages somewhat brief. You have no idea what's going on with them, to whom else they are talking, or even their sincere level of interest. Delving too deeply into what you are looking for and what you have to offer will be wasted if they do not bother to read it or decide for whatever reason they are not interested. Mention something about their profile that caught your attention, one of their photos, or an activity that they talked about. Ask a question. It gives them something to answer in their return email. If they have a nice smile, I will usually put that in because it speaks of ease and friendliness. Do not go too far with any remarks about physical traits. That's a slippery slope and can go downhill very fast. Do not be critical of anything you have read or point out mistakes, and do not be too pushy in what you expect from them after just one email. I seldom give my real name in the first email unless I am very interested in trying to create a personal connection right away. I am very careful never to give out too much personal information up front at all. I do not offer where I work, my last name, or where I live. I have even met people for coffee and did not give them my last name. I do not think it is rude. I think it is smart, especially if there has been limited communication before you set up a meeting. We will go more into that part later. Once you have written your email and are satisfied that it hits the right balance of interest without sounding needy or aggressive, go ahead and send it. Then move on to the next one. I know some people who will only send one email at a time and wait for a response before sending another. They believe that's only fair and do not want to have too many conversations going at once. I understand that and do not want you to send dozens of emails at one sitting. I do want you to be discerning in particular when you pick someone, but it is perfectly acceptable to send out more than one email. But do not do the copy and paste. For that to work, the email would have to be so generic and it would be recognized as such, and the reader would keep moving. Give each person the benefit of a personalized short email. Do not send a follow-up email. It looks desperate. Your first email, their email works fine, and if it doesn't, they will not get your second or third one either. Some people check their messages once a day, some once a week. Others put up a profile, meet someone, and never check their messages again. The bottom line is this: if they are interested in you, they will respond. Any reason they choose not to respond is your cue to move on and not look back. Their message to you. 94% of people expect a response within 24 hours. As I mentioned earlier, not everyone checks their messages that often, but I tend to agree with that time frame. If I do not receive a reply within a day, I assume they're not interested. It has been rare, although it has happened, for someone to come back and provide a vacation or family issue as a reason for the delay. If you are not interested, then it is my suggestion to simply not reply. I know there are many who will say, some even in their profiles, that it is rude not to answer an email. I disagree. The sole purpose of online dating is to find a compatible partner. If by reading their profile you determine they are not a good match for you, I see no reason to respond just to say no. If I send an email to a guy and see that he has replied, I become hopeful. I take it as a good sign. To then open it up only to read he is not interested is a disappointment. I would rather not to have multiple rejection emails in my box. I would rather the silence speak for itself. If you send an "I'm sorry, I do not believe we are a match," then you open yourself up for the question of why not, and what's wrong with me, or you're just too picky. Trust me, those are actual responses. Spare yourself the aggravation and just choose not to reply. If you feel that strongly about it and wish to reply, please be clear and concise in your answer to discourage them from trying again. You will receive many one-word emails like "hey" or "nice" or just simply "sexy." A few times I have responded to just a "hello," even though I would prefer a little more substance. However, I do not respond if the best they can muster is "nice." It is obvious what they are looking for. Just like your thoughtful messages, you can determine who took the time to read your profile and express a sincere interest. Try to focus your attention on them. There will be a steady flow into your inbox. Take your time and be mindful and sincere. Pretty soon you will connect with someone. Congratulations. You can now move on to the dialogue of finding common interests, sharing stories, and learning about each other. This can be a fun time. In the next chapter, we are going to move on from first emails to first dates. That brings on a whole new set of challenges, excitement, and even caution. Are you ready? Okay, so that's the end of chapter 4, the online dating profile, what to look for, how to set yourself up, and what to look for and read in someone else's. So that's all for this video. Tune in the next time for chapter 5, where we go through the first date. So this is J. Hope Suis from Hope Boulevard. I hope you've been enjoying my videos, and I hope you keep coming back for more. Thanks a lot for watching.